Bonjour, je suis Jean-Pierre Polnareff. You killed my sister. Prepare to die. Okay, show of hands, who wants Polnareff to say something like that? Although I didn't really have a sword. Portion of Jojo's Bizarre Adventure Stardust Crusaders episode 5, and I'm just gonna come out and say this. I really like this episode. This has gotta be my favorite fight so far. In fact, Magician's Red has officially become my favorite stand so far because that thing was amazing in this week's fight. Basically, the majority of this episode was Muhammad Avdol and Magician's Red versus Jean-Pierre Polnareff and Silver Chariot. Not only that, but we also get a bit of Polnareff's character and personality, which I really did like. We continue off with their little confrontation inside the restaurant, and you'd think with all that commotion going on, you'd expect the waiters, waitresses, or even the manager to like pop out and see what the hell is going on, but there was like nobody there. It was just Polnareff and Jotaro's group. That was the only people there, no other customers either. Also, remember that fire clock created in the previous episode? Yeah, Avdol was able to burn it, which makes sense because, I mean, it's fire on a table, it would burn. Honestly, I didn't see what the point was of that, but I think it was because of making the scene more dramatic or something. It's just... Now, we get a little display of Silver Chariot's ability, where Polnareff throws up these coins in the air, and Silver Chariot, with just one single swipe, pierces each and every single coin. Not only that, but it also pierced Avdol's fire, which means that this stand can not only cut solid objects, but also fire, but this thing can also, according to Polnareff by the way, slash the very air and create gaps between nothingness and nothingness. Basically, it can cut through anything. I really like Silver Chariot, not just the design because its appearance is an armored knight, but its ability alone. And from what we've seen in Polnareff's personality and character, he's pretty chivalrous and honorable because he doesn't want to take care of Avdol in a cramped space. He wants to fight him in an open area so that Avdol can fully manipulate Magician's Red's fire, because he thought it would be very fitting for his stand to defeat Avdol under those circumstances. A fitting victory. So he takes the group into this place called Tiger Palm Gardens. I think that's a real place in Hong Kong, which, by the way, one of you guys pointed out to me that Hong Kong and China are separate. Even though Hong Kong is in China, I kind of made a mistake there and I apologize for that. Well, anyway, where their fight commences, and I really liked this fight. It was so freaking cool. I mean, first off, Silver Chariot is really fast. Not as fast as Tower of Grey, but still fast enough, even with that armor of his. But Magician's Red was still able to dodge all of its strikes. And then it launches these fireballs at Silver Chariot, but with like one swipe. At least I thought it was a single swipe, but apparently it was a couple of jabs. He was able to deflect those fireballs. Not only that, but mold a statue of one of the birds into a statue of Magician's Red, as if Polnareff was mocking Avdol. Thus, we get to see another one of Magician's Red's techniques, and holy crap, this fire attack looks so freaking cool. It is called Crossfire Hurricane. It's basically a giant fire blast shaped like an ankh, an Egyptian symbol. Holy shit. Sorry, I'm still fangirling over this episode because even though I watched it a few hours ago, it was so freaking good. But even with that, Silver Chariot was still able to deflect that attack right back at Magician's Red. And apparently that attack was so strong that even Avdol was getting burned. And I was like, oh my god, really? Not even that attack can take care of Silver Chariot. Holy crap. It looked like Magician's Red was trying to lunge at Polnareff, but Silver Chariot just sliced at the stand, but it turns out it wasn't the stand, it was the statue that Polnareff created. It was on fire, And I was confused because when did Avdol have the time to throw the statue towards Polnareff, even though it wasn't even on fire? I mean, we saw Magician's Red on fire when he deflected that Crossfire Hurricane back at him. It hit the statue, I think, and it melted the joints, causing it to move. So Magician's Red launches another Crossfire Hurricane. Polnareff and Silver Chariot take the full brunt of that attack, and it seems that they're down and defeated. Oh, but no, mes amis, that was just around. Pieces of Silver Chariot's armor breaks off from its body, and Polnareff gets launched into the air, and he starts clapping and saying, "Bravo, bravo!" I'm really liking Polnareff's character. He's just a fun guy, really. So he decides to offer some time to explain his powers first, because he doesn't think it's very honorable to defeat an opponent without them truly knowing their abilities. Yeah, I hate it when they usually do that in shonen, not just shonen but in other anime and manga, where they have to explain to their opponents their abilities, because Polnareff is an honorable guy and he thinks it's dishonorable for his opponent to not know the full extent of his abilities, which, okay, I will let it slide. So he tells Avdol that Silver Chariot was wearing this heavy armor which protected itself from Crossfire Hurricane, which was why only Polnareff was lightly injured. Not only that, but since the armor is removed, it is now even faster. It even created shadow clones. And I'm not talking Naruto's shadow clone jutsu, no, I'm talking about after images created from its speed or something like that. I think that's how Silver Chariot creates its clones. Also keep in mind, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure came out before Naruto. So even though with its speed increased, Magician's Red was still capable of dodging its attacks and tries to launch Red Bind or a couple of its fire attacks at the clones, finding the real one, which it had no luck, unfortunately. Here I gotta give big kudos to the animation, because this is where of course the color change occurs, and the flames in Magician's Red was purple, and I don't know why, but I really loved the purple flames, so I'm really loving the animation in this anime. It's really good. Silver Chariot then starts jabbing at Avdol, giving him cuts, and even cuts on his face shaped like the Ankhs. It was at that moment where he came to a realization that Polnareff has highly trained its stand. Out of everyone in that group, Polnareff is so far the only one that has had his stand the longest, since he's been training with it for 10 years. We know that Jotaro and Joseph awakened their stands recently. Kakyoin and Avdol, we don't know when their stands were awakened, so we can just safely assume that Polnareff is the only one so far in the group that had his stand the longest. Now, according to Avdol, the Crossfire Hurricane comes with many variations. One of its variation is that it could break the Ankh-shaped fire from Crossfire Hurricane into multiple pieces, meaning that he can launch multiple Crossfire Hurricanes, which he dubs this technique Crossfire Hurricane Special, which he launches multiple Ankh-shaped fire blasts at Silver Chariot, which it and its clones, by the way, surround Polnareff, leaving him protected from any of its weak spots. And just when Silver Chariot was about to cut Crossfire Hurricane Special, another Ankh-shaped fire blast just pops out underground and just knocks back Polnareff, engulfing him in flames. It turns out that the Crossfire Hurricane that he launched earlier created a tunnel which he used to launch another Crossfire Hurricane towards Polnareff. So the Crossfire Hurricane Special technique was just merely a distraction to catch Polnareff off guard. So after that fight, Avdol goes up to Polnareff and gives him this dagger. He tells him that burning to death is a painful way to die. So he tells him to use the dagger to kill himself, to commit suicide. It's freaking obvious he's not going to do this. Even though it looked like that he was going to throw the dagger back at Avdol trying to kill him, but he also doesn't do that either. Because he is such an honorable guy that he decides to be a good sport and burn to death. Since he was defeated by Avdol's powers, he thought it would be common courtesy to do so. It would be disrespectful to kill himself. And apparently Avdol, since he was walking away, apparently he heard what Polnareff said. I don't know how he was able to hear that, but apparently he did. And with a snap of his fingers, he dispersed the flames because he was being chivalrous and he didn't even try to backstab Avdol. And despite him being ordered by Dio, he's still that honorable guy. And I guess that the Avdol was moved by this and he decides to spare him from getting killed. But it turns out that just like Kakyoin, he was being brainwashed by Dio because he had that fleshball parasite on his forehead, which Jotaro used Star Platinum to remove it, and then we get this weird ass comedic moment where Joseph was freaking out over the parasite thing, which is weird because we've seen him in the same room when Jotaro removed it from Kakyoin's head, so why was he getting all freaked out? It was even funnier by the way he was acting and moving around. He was acting like a scared little schoolgirl. I thought it was freaking funny. Oh my god. Joseph. I still love Joseph, but oh my god, that pun that he said. Now that the flesh bud has been gone, we can be buddies. Jan. Oh my god. So then we cut to this harbor where Jotaro and the others are heading towards the boat, but they encounter Polnareff, who wants to thank them for freeing him. But he asks Joseph about his left arm, asking him if his left arm was actually his right arm. But when he removed his glove, he actually showed his artificial left arm. Now the reason why Polnareff asked Joseph this question was because he was looking for someone who has two right hands, and that someone murdered his sister. 3 years ago, his sister and one of his classmates were walking outside in France when they encountered a man who had two right hands. He attempted to kill the classmate by slicing her chest open. And then when he got to his sister, according to the subtitles, he shamed and killed her, which I didn't know what he meant by shamed, so I went to the Wikipedia page. I read the first paragraph, and apparently the man with the two right hands raped and killed Polnareff's sister. That is really dark. You know what? I fully support him. As for the classmate, she survived. Barely. And he also deduced that the person who killed his sister happened to be a stand user because there was an invisible dome shape that was protecting him from the rain, according to the flashback. 1 year before now, he met Dio, and we get to see Dio, and he used that Hermit Purple 2.0 thing, which, you know what, I'm just gonna say that is Jonathan's stand, which he awakened when he took over his body, and Joseph's stand manifested as that. Fuck it, I'm not gonna question it anymore. But he also has what looks like a bird. I think it was like a hawk or a falcon or an eagle, I'm not sure, but he had a pet bird on his shoulder. I don't know if that's gonna be important later on, but I just wanted to point that out. Yeah, Dio was aware of the man who killed his sister, and he was offering his assistance to find the killer in exchange for Polnareff helping Dio. But you know what? Polnareff didn't even say yes or no. He didn't even have time to respond because right when Dio was done talking, he just used his hair tentacle thing to implant that flesh bulb thing onto his freaking forehead. I mean, even if he said no, or even if he said yes, he would still have been brainwashed. He obviously wasn't even going to help him kill him, but it also means that the murderer rapist guy happens to be working with Dio. So Polnareff offers to travel with them to Dio in order to find his sister's killer, which they all agree, and that is how Polnareff joins the group. And I was worried that he was going to be one of those cliche dark avengers that we usually see in many shonen anime and manga, but he's not. Even though he has this uplifting, happy personality, he does have a bit of a dark history. Then the episode ended in this like comedic moment where, oh, for fuck's sakes, the two girls go up to Jotaro asking him to take their picture, and they're obviously infatuated by that guy. Oh, for fuck's sakes. Can we actually get to see some female characters that aren't going to be fangirls to Jotaro? Because that's the second time in a row. I mean, I think the only female character that's ever important that we've seen so far is either Holly and that old lady with the mangled hand thing. Oh my god, I just realized something. What if the rapist slash killer guy is connected to that old lady with the mangled up hand thing? Oh my god, they might be like related or something. I have not read the manga or seen any of the OVA, so I don't know what is going to happen. Oh, right, the two fangirls. Then Jotaro, being Jotaro, decides to yell at them, calling them annoying. But Polnareff actually goes up to them. He's just smitten over these girls and he starts to take their pictures. But apparently he's got a little thing for legs and he just takes pictures of their legs. Hey, you know, people have quirks. I ain't gonna judge, but... And overall, this was another really good episode. I'd say this is the best episode I've seen so far. I mean, Magician's Red for the win. I mean, holy crap, Crossfire Hurricane kicks ass. This stand kicks ass, and I'm really liking Silver Chariot and Polnareff's character, and hopefully we'll get to see more of him. Some kick-ass action, great animation, really good voice acting, especially the voice actor for Polnareff. I mean, he did a pretty good job with his French. And of course, not only the introduction to Polnareff, but some development on his character and him joining the group. So the group has been fully constructed and I cannot wait to see more of this guy. I've noticed as of late we've been getting some screen time for other characters aside from Jotaro. So far we haven't seen Jotaro doing a lot in terms of like either character development or in terms of action scenes. But not sure what they're gonna do with Jotaro since he's the main character, but maybe we'll get to see more of that, I believe, in next week's episode, which, by the way, according to the preview, they're gonna encounter another stand user on a freaking boat. You know, if Dio is sending his minions one at a time, why doesn't he just send them all together at once? There's 5 of them, and there's gonna be like 1 minion for every episode. I hope that doesn't really happen, but... yeah, from the looks of it, there's going to be another stand user on the boat. And we're going to get another character, which is this little girl. I don't know what her purpose is. Maybe she's going to be another Smokey or another Speedwagon or another... that one kid from Phantom Blood. I don't know his name. Paco? Pico? Starts with a P, I don't know. But I am looking forward to seeing next week's episode. If you want to see the episode yourself, it is now out on Crunchyroll. I will leave a link in the description down below. So what did you think of this week's episode? Did you like it? Did you hate it? What did you think of the fight between Magician's Red and Silver Chariot? Was it kick-ass? I thought it was. And I can't wait to see more. So leave your thoughts in the comments down below. Like the video if you like it and subscribe to more videos on this channel. Also on my backup channel as well. So yeah, that is Stardust Crusaders episode 5. I cannot wait to see more. I'm really loving this series. I'm Respond 27 and I will see you guys later. Bye.